We've got the beard in full effect. What's good, everybody? Happy new comic book day. I'm Comic Man Andy, and you're in the right spot. So buckle up. We're gonna go over our picks for this week's new comic book day. I'm excited. Are you excited? If you're as excited as I am about new comic book day, like I said, you're in the right spot. Buckle up. Once again, welcome back. Happy new comic book day, everybody. I'm pumped. And I'll tell you why here in just a little bit, and we'll wait for some people to filter in. We've got this is it. These are the books for the week. I'm kind of excited because of this, and I can't wait to talk about these with you guys. But holy moly, has it been a week? It is definitely Monday 3.0, and I am feeling it. Hope you guys are having a great week, having a great Wednesday. There's a whole lot of great content going on tonight. We're talking about, got some announcements about Whatnot and Comic Tom and what's going down over there. So if you're on your PC or if you're on your tablet, then take out your mobile device and pull up Whatnot and check out what Comic Tom and those guys have going on right now, because I've got it streaming right now as well. But man, we had some tailgaters hanging out tonight. Paul Dunn saying hi. What is up, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Oliver is in the house. Always the first to comment. He is, hey buddy, how are you? Let you guess. No, we have DC books this week. We have a DC book this week. Paul, Don, we did get one. And boy, I spent a lot of time thumbing through DC books and checking out DC stuff this week because literally it's the only thing to reach full delivery this week. That's what she said. The only thing that could be completely delivered this week were DC books, and it was nuts. Luke's Comics is in the house. Good to see you, man. Station Comic people. White Tiger Collectibles, Ruben Guzman. Good to see you. Bearded Avengers Assemble. Thanks, man. Great seeing you here. One Shot Comics. What is up? What is going on, man? Thanks for being here. One Shot. Thank goodness for light weeks. Yes. Once again, thank goodness for light weeks. Yes. Took Monday off. I missed hanging out with all you guys, missed seeing everybody here. But after that crazy eventful week at Motor City Comic Con, by the time we got all home and unpacked and unwound, there wasn't enough time to make a thumbnail and prepare and get ready and figure out what to do for Monday. So we took the night off. We are back tonight though. Mishu Seaman, good to see you. Muhi Seaman. Mark, good to see you, man. Thanks for being your station and stuff, he says. Hey, Oliver, absolutely good to see you. Nerds Being Geeks, what's up, Nerf Herders? You're going to talk about Motor City Comic Con. I walked by Nerds Being Geeks probably twice. Didn't even know he was in cosplay. And man, if it wasn't for him being next up in line for Donnie Cates, we probably would have hung out and taken some pictures. I look forward to catching you on the next one. Hopefully you make a run for C2E2. I know we're going there. That's going to be part of the announcements as well. Mojo Quid, hola, my peoples. What is good, man? Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out on this Monday. Oh, see, I'm telling you, it's Monday 3.0. This Wednesday, new comic book day. Holy moly. You're only halfway through Saga right now. Paul Dunn is hooked, line, and sinkered into Saga after reading the first trade. Now he is halfway through that first chunk of books. He's getting there. Absolutely, man. I hope you guys had as awesome of a Wednesday as I did this week, because I thought we were getting a lot of stuff. And I'm actually kind of relieved that things got dialed back a little bit. House of Slaughter got delayed. If I remember correctly, House of Slaughter was supposed to be this week. The 1 in 1000 was already delayed by a week, but House of Slaughter was delayed by a week as well, the main release. Gunslinger Spawn, sadly enough, was released. That was going to be one of my reads that I had it in the title set and ready to go. I wanted to read Gunslinger Spawn. That got delayed. Like I think we heard about that 9-10 o'clock last night, and I just didn't get time to edit. Just didn't get time to edit the title here this evening, but yeah, I couldn't believe how many delays were happening. And once again, Penguin Random House, whatever the name they're going by, strikes again, because there were a lot of damages I saw sitting on the shelf. I don't have the pick uploaded right now, but I tell you what, man, most of those Marvel books were looking ratty again this week, and that's kind of frustrating. That is kind of frustrating, but let's dive into these books. Then we'll get into a little Motor City Comic Con information, kind of recap, and then we'll do a couple of announcements, and then we'll recap the books again. This will go really quick, man. Don Davis, we got a DC book. One, Refrigerator Full of Heads. I was interested. What piqued my interest is the axe makes an appearance on the cover, the axe from the first series. And I'm kind of like, okay, so these are tied together in some fashion. So I want to see where this goes. Joe Hill, Hill House Comics. This is definitely, it opens up kind of like a Brewbreaker read at first and definitely turns violently bloody and does not disappoint. Murder was the case that this book had this week. So I don't know. If you guys liked Basket Full of Heads, Refrigerator Full of Heads is going to be right up your alley. I didn't quite finish reading this. I thumbed through this to check out all the artwork to see where this was going to go and kind of spoiled it for myself, but I'm interested. I'm definitely going to be grabbing issue 2. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Refrigerator Full of Heads. Anybody else read that yet today? I mean, it came out Tuesday, so maybe you guys had a chance to read it Tuesday night or earlier today. But moving right along to Marvel, that was it for DC books, man. It is time to clang and bang. It's Morphin time. What's up, ComicManAndy? Burke Family 54 is in the house, bringing that great energy. Good to see you, brother. I'm so glad to see you guys all here in the chat tonight. We're recharging our batteries because it's been one hell of a week, has it not? We'll get into Motor City here in a little bit because that was super BA. But Marvel books are up. Star Wars The High Republic issue 10 is out. And because this week was so light, this was a great opportunity for me to get caught up on High Republic. And I got caught up right until about halfway through issue 9. So I'm sort of caught up. Issue and a half left to read tonight. I should be able to do that quite easily. Burke, you caught me off guard with that. You definitely caught me off guard there. I should be able to get caught up quite easily with the last issue and a half here tonight. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I like that we've moved past this first story arc with the Dengar and what's going on there. It was kind of, I don't know. I'm hoping to be carried a little bit deeper into the world of Star Wars with other aspects, and I'm glad they're moving along. But we had the sweet variant cover that was out. I was really digging this one, and I'm very curious to see what happens in this issue now. I'm looking at that variant cover. And then we also were able to snag the 1 in 25 and Jingard, for the pronunciation, excuse me. I'm actually kind of digging this. It's not too bad. 1 in 25. How many people are ordering High Republic 10 right now? I did not see many issues or copies in my local LCS, so I don't know what the print run like this is going to be. But you start getting into issues 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If they're going to end up dropping a big first appearance or a major first appearance, or even something else going on, this is where I don't want to miss out on a Star Wars title, because if something happens and these things are under order or under printed, that's why I'm still sticking it out with a lot of Star Wars books, to be honest with you, is because if I am going to read these even at a later time, I don't want to have to pay $30 or $40 for an issue, a single issue, because that happens all too often when I get into Star Wars books and all of a sudden it's a key now and it's $40 for a book. And I'm like, well, if I just would have had that on my pull list to begin with. Either way, and sticking with Marvel, Thor 18 is out, and almost dropping Thor right there with Throg right on the cover. Gonna definitely read this tonight. I've been looking forward to seeing where this goes next, and I can't quite remember issue 17. I just know that when it ended, I wish it would have rolled right into 18 without stopping, because that Kate's run of Thor has been a lot of fun, actually, in my opinion. That's it for the big two. That's it for Marvel and DC. There was only one indie book for me to grab this week. And that's not to say there weren't indie books out there. There were plenty of indie books out there, but the only one that I had on my radar was adding to the reading pile. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 122 goes right on the reading pile. There it is. Dreaming about the future and Thanos, Paul Dunn says. Dreaming about the future and Thanos. Interesting. But, oh, yeah, that's a good point, man. We'll have to get into that at some point. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hits the reading pile. It has been one hell of a busy week. Those are the pickups this week. Like we said, a ton of books got delayed. There were some other fantastic indie reads out there that I just wasn't quite, they weren't quite on my radar to pick up the single issues. Because like I said, we've been working to trim back the new comic book day pull list into something more manageable and to get into the stories that you guys are telling me that I really need to get into. I want to get into them in trade, and I want to stick to what I really love in the single floppy issues. Now, what does that do for me? That actually kind of puts the blinders back on and has me staying in my lane for what I know I like to read, and actually doesn't help me grow as a reader and as a person. So that's one unfortunate aspect of kind of trimming down things and sticking to a budget. But it's con season, con quarter. We'll call it con quarter because all the conventions are in the last quarter of the year, right? So we're keeping to a budget, and we'll roll this right into the Motor City topic of discussion next because con quarter is rolling right now, and Motor City was just last week. And boy, did I have a blast of a time. The wife and I, Peter Parker's Pants, welcome to the chat, man. We'll recap the books here in a little bit. And speaking of Motor City Comic Con, I got the chance to meet Peter Parker's Pants on the floor, and I was so excited. He's like, "Hey, Andy, how's it going?" And I'm like, he's like, "I'm Peter Parker's Pants." And I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. Great to see you, man." And my only regret is I didn't take a picture with him on the floor because I probably won't get a chance to see him in quite a while. But that was super cool, man. It was so great to meet you and see you in person. That's what I love about a convention is getting to hang out with friends and actually seeing people on the floor. And Motor City did not slouch in that aspect. And I'll just start the story and I'll just start rambling and going on while everybody's filtering in here. How about that Chicago parking? That's going to be another part of the topic here in a little bit. What do you call a pudgy psychic? Ooh, a four chin teller. What if he's five chin? Multiple chin teller. Absolutely. Good stuff, Luke. So we left and got into town, and I got a call about 9 in the morning from a good friend Friday morning, pretty early in the morning. It's like, "Hey, Andy." Handy? He didn't call me Handy. He called me Andy. He's like, "Andy, I know you're in the area, and I know I can trust you. I have a friend that's heading over that way that wants to talk to somebody about comic books. Can I shoot him your contact information?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Love to help out, somebody in the community if they've got questions or if there's something I can do for them, if I can, I will, right?" So about 5 minutes later, an individual calls and say, "Hey, it's so and so. I'm a photojournalist with Local 4 News, and I'm over there, and I don't know anybody at the convention, but one of my other good friends suggested that I speak with you because he said you're in the area." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, what do you need?" He's like, "Can you be there in 15 minutes?" Yeah, I can be there in 15 minutes. Why not? I mean, we're only like a 5-minute drive away, and we were just kind of waiting for the convention, kind of waiting for the rain to taper off a little bit and for people to line up so that we can go hang out with like-minded people and talk comic books while we wait in line, right? So he's like, "All right, head over there. Meet me at door such and such in the back of the building." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Don't think I've been back there before. We've driven around it before, but." So we get back there, and of course, it's the loading unloading zone, and all these news vans are lined right up. And there we find him right there. He waves us over. I said, "Hey, how's it going, man? Here I am. What can we do to help you out?" He throws the door open. He throws a mic at me, a lavalier mic. He's like, "Stick this in your pocket, put it underneath your shirt." He's like, "Let's go. I'm going to ask you some questions." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And checking out this whole setup. And we got to see the inside of what a news van really is and what it really looks like. And I was actually kind of excited. That was neat. We start walking towards the front. He's like, "I don't want to miss the opening. We've got a little while yet, but there's some things he wanted to do on the floor." So he rolls right in the door, has us following him. He goes right to the press booth and he's like, "Hey, I'm so and so, and with News Channel 4." I'm like, "These two back here are with me and they need press badges." And I'm like, "So that's how it happens. Okay. Well, ComicManAndy is going to have to apply for press badges from here on out because I had some opportunities, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. But we were walking the floor all the way towards the front of the convention to the front doors, and that's when all I noticed, he starts asking me questions, and he was recording me the whole time as we were walking. And I could tell the camera was pointing at me. I didn't know it was on, but these were some great questions. And then he'd stop and record some people doing this and some people doing that. And then we got to the front, and that's when he started going into interview mode and interviewing people and interviewing me and doing some other things. I'm like, "Oh, this is a lot of fun. I'm really getting into some good energy with this." And there's some great people watching, and there were people lined up all over the place. And it was great to see. The lines there were longer, if not longer than in 2019. People were back. People were ready to be at the convention at Motor City. And I was so pumped and so amped to be a part of this that I even was out there trying to do some vlogging as well. I've got the old kit out like we talked about in the last couple of weeks. The old comic man is spreading his wings and going to get out of his comfort zone and try some different things for content and try to find out some things that I think are fun and enjoyable. Right. So I brought the old road setup that we picked up and was trialing some things. And I mean, like, you know what? Like, let me go into kind of like videographer mode or whatever you want to call it, and I like got some shot ideas and recording some footage, and as the doors opened up, I was filming people walking in, and then I rolled right into line with them and actually like tried to videotape the experience of going into the convention and doing that. And they had things so well honed this year for 2021. Motor City knocked it out of the park and created 2 lines this year. If you pre-purchased your badges, you were in one line. If you didn't purchase any badges, you were in another line at the completely opposite end of the building, which actually worked out fantastic for gaining entry to the convention for everybody that bought early. So the front of the building had 2 lines, and those 2 lines stretched all the way down the building, all the way down the sides, and all the way around the back. Tons and tons of people lined up, and that made con entry, getting into the convention floor, seamless, in my opinion. We strolled right in. Everybody was going right in, and those little bracelets that they're using now were primo. I mean, fantastic. I mean, it was seamless. On the convention floor, digging for books right away, going, checking out your favorite artist. It was a blast, and I'm gonna use this opportunity to. I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity and use this press badge and actually try to record a bunch of content. Recorded full walkthrough minus the celebrity area because you're not supposed to record in the celebrity area. Full walkthrough on Artist Alley. Full walkthrough on the rest of the convention floor. We even recorded a couple of a handful of segments to create a specific video at that con, but not about the con necessarily. Don't want to spoil it. So there's potentially 2 or 3 videos that I can come up with out of all of this content that we recorded. And it ended up being 100 gigabytes worth of 4K 60 FPS footage. Now the struggle begins of migrating all of that raw footage over from my iPhone to a regular PC, and iPhones and PCs don't like working well together. I prefer to do my editing and creation on a PC using editing software, free editing software. And I know there's some free stuff on iPhones too, but I just can't do even an iPhone 12 Pro Max. I just can't do editing on a screen that small. I'm going to try to do some smaller stuff, but I got to migrate 100 gigs worth of that content over to an external drive, to SD cards to start, and then over to an external drive onto this PC. I'm trying to figure that all out. All in all, the convention was a huge success, in my opinion, for us, from the standpoint of going and checking out comic books and content and art and cosplay and people watching, and just being in that convention mindset and being in that convention environment was an absolute blast. And I think Motor City hit a home run. I think they did really well with that. Now, because of the tight convention schedule, there were some vendors that had to cancel. There were some other things where, like, I know with the space, they made the aisles much more spacious. The booths were much further apart. The seating areas where people were eating and drinking beverages were much more spaced out. There was a lot more seating available than there has been in past. And I think it worked. I think it worked really well. I think there was still room for them to have a bunch more vendors in there yet. Excuse me. They could have had a number of other vendors in there yet and still did things safely. And, it was just a great time. We were there for all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and we stayed for almost the entire day Sunday. Now, what I do have ready and available that I can show, if you guys have not seen it on Instagram, is we did start our sketchbook. We did our very first sketch in here at Artist Alley, and thank you, Seawater19, for the suggestion of doing the sketchbook. Bought it in 2019 and forgot to bring it with me to Baltimore, and it's sat here this entire time. We forgot to bring it to C2E2 in 20, and it's sat here this entire time. And I looked at my wife, and we started talking. I'm like, this is the year we've got to try this out. We've got to check this out. And that's interesting, Steve White. There was only 35% capacity allowed at NYCC. And I was watching some videos that people were shooting there. There was actually one guy, I forget his channel name, who was doing live streaming from the convention floor and walking around. He's something communist, or he's a commuter, capital commuter, city commuter, something like that. It's a couple 100,000 followers on YouTube, where I would imagine he just walks around with this live setup, and he was there at New York Comic Con, and it looked like quite a few people were there still. But our first stop on C. Woodard's suggestion was Andy Bennett. And Andy Bennett, absolutely killed it with this Ahsoka Tano sketch. And the negative space that he did with the lightsabers is absolutely to freaking die for. And there's a bunch of white speckled flecks in there, white ink like flecked into the lightsabers and all around them. And it looks absolutely fantastic. This camera is not going to do this justice. He did this in about 4 hours, I think, on Friday. And that's a big tip for any of you guys that are interested in starting a sketchbook. Go early on the very first day of the convention, do one really good sketch with your favorite artist and call it at that, because by the time you get to Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, there tends to be timetables and people are budgeting their time based on other requests that they have. Andy gave us his full focus on us for that first day at the convention into this, while still being able to take care of people that are walking up to his booth. And this was absolutely astonishing. This is his first ever sketch of Ahsoka Tano. He's never had an opportunity to do an Ahsoka Tano before, so he was really into doing this. And we can't thank him enough. This turned out absolutely fantastic. And we kind of got bit by the sketch bug. We were going to leave it at one sketch. And then was it Paul Dunn? I think it was Paul Dunn, somebody else in the group, in the hangout here, in the live streams, mentioned on Facebook at the Unknown Comics booth, Anna, her last name, Anna Zoe, I think it is, was going to be at the Unknown Comics booth. And he's like, don't forget to check her out. And I was definitely checking her art out. And she stopped me in my tracks with Erica Slaughter picture that looked really good. And on Saturday, we saw that, and she was already kind of busy Saturday. And I'm like, all right, first thing Sunday, we'll get up early and we'll come in early and we'll stop by and see what her workload's like. And if she's interested and has an opportunity to do it. And sure enough, we weren't early. We were a little bit late, but she was still able to fit it in. And that's what I mean by doing your sketches early in a convention and getting to an artist right away is as somebody doing a sketchbook or having art commissions, you never kind of want to hear the words being fit in, but it worked. It worked out that there were a couple other things that she was able to handle, or not handle, but able to finish off and then get us fit in on the Sunday, because we wanted to stay for the whole day anyways. But this Erica Slaughter that she did is absolutely fantastic. And this camera is not going to do this justice either, but it looks absolutely astonishing. Oh, it looks so good. And she's like, can I fit Octo in there? And I'm like, hell yeah, you can fit Octo in there. I'm like, we're running the gambit here. Kill it. Knock it out of the park. Hit a grand slam with this. And that turned out fantastic. So, that sketch, this was Seawater 19. Once again, thank you so much for this idea for doing the sketchbook. We're probably going to do one sketch per convention and turn it into essentially a storybook. Something where we're going to, I should have thought about this while we were at Motor City, but have the artist work in, there's the sketch, and then somewhere at the bottom when they sign it, throw in Motor City 2021 or C2E2 2021. So it kind of becomes something that tells a story of our convention experiences. And then this will eventually be the place where we locate our convention badges and tickets. We'll eventually start, kind of hiding them in between the pages and whatnot. So that was absolutely fantastic. And boy, oh boy, did we make one major goof though at Motor City, as we forgot that Saturday night was the sweetest day, like a fake Valentine's Day. And we're like, oh, we'll figure out dinner later. Anna Zoe, if Paul Dunn, if you can drop her link for her website in the chat, I greatly appreciate that. I was unprepared and didn't have that available, but Paul was pretty quick with finding that information and sending it my way. Before, if you Google search her, she comes up right up at the top, or if somebody can drop a link in there. Why were the utensils stuck together? They were spooning. Oh my God, Luke. Wow. We forgot Saturday was utensils day. You got me, man. We forgot Saturday was sweetest day, like the fake Valentine's Day or whatever, or knockoff holiday or knockoff Valentine's Day. And literally like 6:30, we're like, oh yeah, let's go check out this. Every place was a 2.5 hour wait for food. And some places were like, we are not accepting anybody. We're at max until we close. That's unfortunate. So our sweetest day, we ordered a Pizza Hut pizza and sat in the hotel room and watched TV. And it worked out because we were pretty tired after that Saturday and we wanted to rest up for Sunday. that's kind of Motor City in a bit of a nutshell. Like I said, Sunday we did that second sketch. We did some hunting for some books. I found the last two big books on our grail or on our hunt list for 2021, The Walking Dead #1 and that LaRocca 1 in 25 Darth Vader 3. We did find copies of those at the convention, but they were both 9.6s. And convention prices were no slouch this weekend at Motor City. As you can imagine, a 9.6 of the LaRocca 1 in 25 Darth Vader 3, the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, was priced at $1,000. Almost $400 higher than the last recorded sale online in October. So yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And even after like a couple of serious offers, no, we weren't anywhere in the same ballpark on that book. And it was a vendor that had no business cards, had no website, had no Instagram, had no social media at all. So there was no way to even after the convention contact them and ask about a 9.8. So that was really kind of awkward. I'm like, okay, interesting that you kind of go through that effort and do all this, but then that have no social media presence and have no website and have no anything, right? But the other vendor that we visited and spent a good deal of time at, Harley Lee, great guy on a lot of the big conventions. We were there hanging out, had a Walking Dead #1 9.6 black label, and we were just too short. We had spent more time on food or more money on food and drinks and sketches, and we just couldn't get there. And I want to thank Harley if he ever watches YouTube, and he probably doesn't, but thanks for the hospitality and learned quite a bit. And speaking of hospitality and thanking people, I got to thank Marco of Tales from the Dark Side podcast. Marco, the MVP of the convention, helping me navigate a few deals and a few things and educating me on a few things. He was a blast to hang out with the entire weekend. We got to meet Ryan, Dark Side Jedi from Lords of the Long Box, and we actually were digging and hunting books with him. That was a blast. And the cosplay, man, you guys, I gotta put together the videos of Motor City and just show it here, and we can talk about it. Drop it on the channel, and we can talk about it in the comments. Yeah, Peter Parker's pants. We're gonna get into this chat here in just a little bit. Wall books were way over. Like, yeah, I was digging for some gold too. I found a Crow #1 third print that I almost decided to start playing ball on, but I think where he was at on his price, I just don't think I could have gotten the book down to where I wanted to pick it up because it was looking minty. But let's hit up this chat really quick. I've been rambling for at least 20 minutes now, maybe 15 minutes, but yeah, so it was Anna, amazing art, dude. Yeah, I am hooked, man. We're already gonna figure out the first booth we go to for C2E2 to get a sketch done, and it'll be one of those. The first day it opens that I can be there early and really far in front of the line. That first booth I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna drop this off and be like, let's talk, let's figure something out. I want to lock this in and pick it up at the end of the day or the end of the weekend or whatever. Smart. You're talking about the convention sketches and stuff like that. Going and seeing Andy was amazing. You should see her stuff in person. I did. We were there with her in person, and I have video footage of actually walking by her, like kind of peeking in, and when she was working on our sketch, and she was also working on the cover for Nocterra #1 for a friend that I didn't know at the time. I'm looking at her and watching her work on this Nocterra #1. I'm like, this is looking really cool. This is looking like something I would get done. And it ended up being for a guy I know here over in my hometown area in Southwest Michigan. And I know the guy quite well. And I had no idea he was at Motor City, and he had dropped off those books. And I'm like, oh, we started sharing pictures later on. I'm like, that was you. That was awesome. She was a sweetheart. She was an absolute sweetheart. She will be at C2E2 as well. So if you're going to C2E2 and you want to get a sketch done by Anna, you're in for a treat. She will be there at the Unknown Comics booth as well. Yes, Anna Zoe. That's it right there. And I think he dropped her Instagram on there. Thank you, Paul Dunn. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Paul, for dropping that Instagram for her. Everybody follow her on Instagram. You're going to see some great art there. And her commission prices are right on par. They're reasonable with the typical convention fees from what I'm experiencing on my short run of convention sketches. You know what I mean? Adrian APM is in the house. Thank you, brother, for being here. I'm looking forward to his mystery box that he has going on is stacked and packed with tons of value. I think as of earlier today around lunchtime, there were still 8 boxes left. And if he sold all of them, that we would get a chance at possibly winning a free box. One person out of that group would get a chance at winning a free box. So if you guys don't know, check out Adrian APM on Instagram and check out those mystery boxes, because when he does them, he packs them with fire. And I'm excited to get into this when that arrives. Adrian, good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. There's that link for her website, Anna for Art and for Art. She is self-taught too. If I remember correctly, I was watching her documentary or watching a bit of information on her. She started in like 2015. So she's still fairly new to the art scene, less than a decade, and self-taught. Very cool stuff. Second Street Marvel's in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're feeling well. Great to see you around in the community. Comic Man Andy, yes, absolutely. Wall books were money. Pass. I will dig for that gold. Peter Parker's pants. I love looking at wall books, just to look at wall books, and then I shriek when I see the prices. $1,900 for a Walking Dead #1, 9.6. That was about 300 or 400 higher than the last sale on GPA that we found in October. So everything seemed to, the big books seem to be trending $300, $400 to $500 more than last sales, and that's kind of more than what I'm remembering even last few conventions that I've been at. Harley Lee is a legend in the Detroit area. Yes, I think he is local to the Detroit area. I've seen him at C2E2. I've seen him at Motor City. I've seen him at Grand Rapids Comic Con. I saw him out in Baltimore in 19. He makes the gambit. He makes the runs, and it was good to see him at Motor City. Bring in his massive setup. There was no slouch when it comes to books. In fact, Darkside Jedi picked up a Captain Britain off of him that was really cool to see go down, and opened it up. And yeah, it was really cool to see that old book. So thank you, Darkside Jedi, for letting me be a part of that acquisition. That was a lot of fun. Marco is a terrific dude. Speaking of Marco being a terrific dude, and just under 45 minutes, I'll be a guest on Renovision tonight with Peter Renna and Marco, where we're going to do a recap of the convention, and they're going to do their usual thing on a Wednesday night. I can't wait to hang out with them because it's going to be fun. Art is definitely trouble, and I'm going to be in loads of trouble because I'm going to dig deep, and that art book has a lot of empty pages, and I cannot wait. I might even get to a point where I take a page or two and have a bunch of different artists do a bunch of little sketches too, to kind of break it up too. Oh, there's so many good ideas, man. Marco is definitely a great guy. Peter Parker's Pants, you're a great guy too. I hope to see you at C2E2 or another convention, because much like what they're doing this weekend at Baltimore, the Tales from the Flip Side guys and a ton of other people from the YouTube comic book community are getting together to hang out. I don't know if I don't think they have a booth, but I think they may have rented a room or part of a hall just to say that this is where we're going to be hanging out. This is where we're going to be meeting up. I'm extremely jealous that I can't make that schedule work for myself, because I'm at the point right now where I'm so pumped after Motor City, I literally just want to hop online and buy a plane ticket and fly out. Maybe I could swing that for Saturday. I don't know. That would be extremely rough and expensive to fly out for 6 hours and fly back, but I don't know. It's probably way pricier than what I can afford right now. Southern Comic Geeks in the house. What is up, man? Thanks for being here. Good to see you, brother. Tales from there is Marco. Peter's Parker's Pants, the real legend of the Detroit area. Yes. Don't forget, guys, over on Renovision, Marco, myself, and Peter Renna are going to be hanging out talking Motor City tonight, and I can't wait. That's just under 45 minutes over on the Renovision channel. And Luke's Comics still in the chat. My wife asked me to stop singing Wonderwall. I said to I gotta pre-read some of these before I go to him. Peter's Parker's Pants. Yes. Did she show you the glow covers? Yes, I did get to see the glow covers. Maybe she snuck it in on this. I better check the sketch. I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. Maybe she did some of that on there. The glow covers were absolutely dope to see. And now that you mentioned it, I wish I would have asked her if she could fit some of that in. We'll figure that out. Maybe she did and didn't tell me. Joshua Harrison, sorry I missed you. So we were talking about that Noctera cover. It was for Josh. That book was dope. Watching her do that Noctera cover, I was kind of jelly. Cell service sucked all weekend. Yes. When you'd get there in the first hour, like get in there early and sit down at the very beginning, you got 5G, 1 or 2 bars of 5G, and lickety split. So service was working to the point where it was like I was very seriously considering going live on IG or trying to go live on YouTube from the convention because 5G was working so well. Then you blink, do a lap, and all of a sudden there's like 1 bar of like no service, like barely any service. And I'm like, it's almost like I think it's just the sheer number of people and the sheer number of cell phones in there trying to pull in so much data at the same time that it just pushes the limits of the bandwidth in that area. It's got to be it. It's got to be the deal. But if you go off into the corners and get further away from people, I was noticing that I was starting to pick up 5G. Like one of the food corners, well after lunch, like 3 or 4 o'clock when nobody was doing lunch anymore. Like I snuck off into that corner to sit down and take a break, and all of a sudden, boop, 5G. And I'm like, maybe it's just the sheer number of people in the area. I don't know. Good one, Luke. Yes, Luke with a comic gold. Absolutely, man. You got me every time so far. So that's Motor City Comic Con kind of in a nutshell. I can't wait to try to. It's gonna take a while to sort through 100 gigabytes worth of 4K 60 FPS footage, but the idea was is to try to find a way to put together like a walkthrough and throw some music to it for everybody that didn't get a chance to go or is very curious to see what's happening at a convention right now. Uh, that's kind of what I wanted to do, especially a walkthrough of Artist Alley. We worked to do some several booth interviews. Comic Aid is a was a vendor there, and I've seen him there. Actually, I bought books from him in 2019 at Motor City. He's now opening up a store this upcoming weekend in the Detroit area. So we did an interview with him that I actually posted to Instagram. That worked well. We tried to do some other booth interviews to try to fit that in there. And I'm not quite sure exactly how the video is going to come together, but we're going to get something together. Like I said, 100 gigabytes is a lot of footage to go through, but I tried to do it in 2, 3, 4, 5 minute segments so that I wouldn't have to watch hours worth of footage at the same time. But either way, no glow for covers. She's talking about opening up commissions for C2E2. She may do my 1 in 200 Noctera. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't ask her if she was going to do C2E2 commissions at C2E2. I just asked if she was going to be there, and she did say yes. So it's interesting. Hopefully, she does open up for commissions at C2E2, and some other people can get in there and get some experience with her and art and learn about what she has to offer, because that was some super cool stuff. But let's see. As far as announcements, yeah, Motor City's done, wrapped up. We were exhausted trying to rest this week and still work at the same time and do new comic book day, because it's been a hot minute to be able to hang out and recharge these comic collecting and comic reading batteries. I can't thank you guys enough. 2/3 prior to C2E2, you mean like requests going in 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks prior to C2E2? Either way. So speaking of announcements, C2E2 is coming up, right? I applied for professional badges for C2E2. I don't have an actual 2 to 3 weeks. Good to know. Good to know. I should potentially look forward to that as well. Keep an eye on that webpage. But C2E2 requires you to actually have a job in journalism or website, something. You have to be working as like not a producer, but I forget the exact vernacular. And it says that basically if you're a vlogger or if you're a YouTuber or what they called as an influencer, which I'm not by any means, you don't qualify for a press badge. I'm like, oh, okay. I was going to apply for that, but it says you can apply for a professional badge. So, okay. So I applied for that, and I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, well, we've already paid for our passes for all 3 days or all 4 days, however many days C2E2 is going to run. We applied for the full, or we paid for and ordered those things all the way. So it's like, I just want something, just a press badge to go with those so that like I could do some interviews or do some stuff at booths or pop into, if space allows, pop into some panels and kind of record some footage if that's a thing, just to try to continue to practice to do other things when it comes to content. But it sounds like that might not be available, so we're just gonna go and hang out, and I'm still gonna try to record content, right? Because that's gonna be really fun to get to a convention of that size. Man, it was 6-ish miles a day walking at Motor City. Can you imagine how many miles a day it's gonna be walking at C2E2? That's gonna be a lot of walking. I'm looking forward to that though. I'm hoping that they do the yard again at C2E2. We can all hang out and grab a beer, grab a pint, and do that. That's gonna be a blast. So yes, 2 to 3 weeks prior to C2E2, Anna is talking about you can apply for commissions then. So I would hit her up on Instagram now, actually. There's no reason to wait and send her a message. Say, hey, I'm considering doing a commission at C2E2. I'd like to get in on that list. She does some killer Erica Slaughter. I've been told by Paul Dunn, actually, that she does some fantastic Star Wars art, too. So that's something to look into. But I've lost track, gone off on the left field. Let's recap the books for New Comic Book Day again real quick. It was a fast, easy one like we talked about. Hitting the reading pile was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 122. Once again, until C. Woodard and I get caught up on the other editions and the earlier stuff, then we're going to start getting into these books. Thor 18 is going to be the next one I read tonight. I haven't even flipped through it yet, but we're going to be reading this one. Because when I left off at 17. I can't quite remember what was happening, but I do fondly recall wishing that I could read the next issue right away. So that being said, we did have a DC book this week, Refrigerator Full of Heads. And as you can see on the cover, the axe makes an appearance on the cover, so kind of makes you think it's tied together. And without spoiling anything, if you've read the first series, the second series, you'll be interested in. I enjoyed it. I thumbed through it basically and read about half the stuff and kind of skimmed through it just so at least I could figure out what I wanted to figure out without spoiling it to you guys before we went live tonight. So I'll go back and finish reading that tonight. And then we've got the rest of the Marvel books are just the Star Wars High Republic, the cover A, issue 10. And thankfully, because it was such a nice, light, quiet week, we're able to get caught up on High Republic. I've got 1.5 issues left to get to the end of issue 10, and then I'll be completely caught up. So not much more reading to do tonight to be completely caught up for my new comic book day reading. I'm really happy for that. I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of a goal I make, that if I buy something on a Wednesday, I want to be able to read it all and have it done by Thursday at the latest. The 1 in 25 was looking pretty good, so we did grab that. And that is, I cannot pronounce that. Wijingard. I'm terrible at names, so I'm just going to stop right there. But those are the books for New Comic Book Day. That was a nice, light day. I'll tell you why. Books got pushed back. Gunslinger Spawn got pushed back. In fact, I had it on the title as that was probably going to be my read of the week, is what I was thinking. And it got pushed back till next week. Yeah, fingers crossed for the yard this year at C2E2, because we spent a great deal of time there in 20 and hope to do it again. We had such a blast hanging out with all those people. Man, we could go into a whole new story about that. Like, Bear Island Comics has a video called The Last Con on his channel that you guys should all watch. And that's the last time C2E2 got together and we were all there. And you guys should watch. Go to Bear Island Comics, search Bear Island Comics on YouTube and look for the Last Con video and watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. So yeah, Gunslinger Spawn got pushed back. House of Slaughter got pushed back. At least I think House of Slaughter, if I remember correctly, was supposed to be the Wednesday after C2E2. I could be remembering that wrong, but either way, House of Slaughter is next week. The 1 in 1,000 for House of Slaughter is going to be the week after that. That's delayed an additional week, and my pocketbook is going to be thankful for that. And what else? There were not a lot of books. And then Penguin Strikes Again. Pretty much most, if not all of the Star Wars books were all crunchy on the corners. And I mean, not slight by any means. Let's see if I can get the camera to show this. This is the variant for High Republic number 10. And it's not going to come through, is it? See how rounded and white that corner is? It's not going to show well. All of the Star Wars books look like that. Backer board is definitely making that difficult to see, but that's a pretty swift kick in the pants when all your brand new books show up and the corner is looking, oh, I just had it. That big white spot. Every one of the Star Wars books, those bottom corners and top corners look like that. No way. So, I mean, if you're a completionist collector like myself, but you're going for all graded copies of this, 9/8 are going to be tough to find. Penguin House is just demolishing these books. And the spine is a typical Marvel Star Wars book with the spine that's going to have some white spots on it. They're just not super great. But all of the top corners were all crunchy too. I found one copy where the top corner was actually pretty decent. So the shenanigans with Penguin continue. Things have not gotten better. They've promised that things are going to get better. They promised to make changes, and the changes they have made, if they have changed them, are not having a positive effect on the books. The books are still showing up damaged. And they're not offering refunds to the LCSs. They're the people that are buying them. So maybe it's time to take a break from Marvel books and get heavy into DC like Don's been trying to get me to do. Because I'm not interested in buying damaged books. I'm interested in reading books, but I'm not interested in buying damaged single issues. At that point, I'll read them digitally. Just, that's kind of frustrating. And it's more frustrating for the LCS owners and the people ordering the books that are watching thousands of dollars basically go down the drain. Um, I'm the type of person that if I order a book with my LCS, I'm gonna pay for it and I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna take it home. The only time that I don't do that is if it's a super expensive ratio variant and it's damaged. Well, my LCS is going to try to ask for a replacement first. And then if they don't get a replacement, well, then they're not going to charge me the umpteen dollars for that book. You know what I mean? The manager and the owner of the LCS and the people that work there aren't going to let me buy a severely damaged ratio book. You know what I mean? I don't know what they do with damaged ratio books when they can't be sold to customers or where customers don't want them, and the publishers or the shippers don't take. I have never heard of that not taking damaged books back until Penguin started doing this. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. All I know is that thankfully House of Slaughter coming out next week is not being shipped by Penguin. We've talked about that, and I made sure. I think it's just Marvel books, and then Lunar shipping the DC books if I remember correctly. So it's time to start, reading some DC books that methinks, because I'm not going to be a big fan of constantly damaged Marvel books. I mean, it's to the point where last week my LCS didn't got a whole. They couldn't even put like a Spider-Man book out if I remember correctly because they were all crunched and damaged. So that's pretty frustrating. But for New Comic Book Day to get back on some good energy, it was a nice light week. Some things did get delayed. I'm okay with that because that allows me to get caught up on a lot of stuff and potentially work on this 100 gigs of content to sort through. I love the convenience and the quality of recording with my iPhone and the add-on stuff that you can do with that as far as the mic and other things. But I don't have an Apple-based PC or laptop at home, which means I have to find a way to get all that footage over to PC without degrading the quality of the video and make sure it's going to crunch that stuff and actually work. But I'll figure it out. That's why, Thursday, Fridays are they seem like they're nights off on the channel. It's because I'm working on content and ideas as I'm sitting here hanging out, still on the channel, but I'm not live. I'm just working on other content. So tomorrow after work is going to be a data heavy, trying to move that video footage, migrate that video footage to where I need it to get to a PC that run hot enough and run fast enough to crunch 4K 60 frame per second video. And boy, I better just hook the AC right up to the PC because this is going to be one of those barn burner sessions, so to speak, because this thing doesn't like to run 4K video. But I digress. Once again, that's New Comic Book Day in a nutshell. And somehow, for so few books, I've still rambled for 50 minutes, and you guys are still hanging out. So I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I greatly appreciate getting to bump into Peter Parker's pants. Just regret that I didn't get a chance to take a photo with you, man. It was great hanging out with you. I know it was only a couple of minutes. Yeah, I could tell you were on the hunt, and I could tell you were excited to be there. So I didn't want to hold you up. And man, I should have messaged you or should have got your cell number. But either way, Motor City Comic Con was a blast. If you guys are anywhere near Detroit or have any interested in driving or flying to Detroit, I would highly suggest Motor City Comic Con. It's only going to get better as things continue to get better and conventions continue to get going and schedules iron out. Motor City Comic Con will be back in May of 2022. Motor City is typically one of the first one of the first conventions to hit at the beginning of a year. So I'm excited that we open up 2022 convention season with Motor City again. We're already booking our room for that one, so I can't wait. And like I said, C2E2 is just around the corner. What, 6 weeks away? Oh my God, October's almost over already? Crap. That means Halloween's coming up too. But C2E2 is going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. I cannot wait. I'm going to put the old vlogging pants on and actually try to record content, and not just try to record content, but just hit record and hope to meet up with everybody and hang out. So if you guys don't want to be on any video, let me know, message me or let me know if I'm recording and I can edit that stuff out, because I'm looking forward to recording that experience and sharing it with everybody and really kind of stretching my wings out and learning some new editing skills, trying some different things. But once again, that's New Comic Book Day in a nutshell. That's Motor City in a nutshell. And then the announcements in a nutshell. There will be a couple more Whatnot auctions between now and C2E2. There's gonna be a Slaborama sale. We need to make room. Slabs need to go out and make room for new slabs coming in and other collection pieces coming in. So there are going to be a couple more Whatnot sales over in the Comic Dojo, and it's going to be some really sweet deals. That Kanto #1 retailer incentive. If you've been looking for that book, it's gonna be going up for probably a pretty sweet deal. We'll see. I don't know if I can let go of that book yet, but I gotta let go of books to make room for more books, right? That's what I'm talking about. So let's hit up this chat one more time before we sign off and call it a night, man. Big Herb Collector. We got the great Herminio Reyes Jr.'s in the house. What's good, buddy? You're just showing up. Thanks for being here and stopping in. Happy new comic book day, everybody. If you don't know Big Herm Collectibles, you need to check out the Big Herm Collectibles YouTube channel. Subscribe to him. Check out him and Sam and a bunch of other people from the community hanging out and doing great content every week. But yes, so she's thinking 2 to 3 weeks prior to C2E2 for Anna doing convention or doing sketches, commissions. So hit her up. Is anyone reading Gun Honey? Issue 1 was kind of like, is this just kind of a gimmick or whatever? And I saw issue 2 or 3 out on the shelf today, and I'm like, because there were so few books I was picking up, I was like, well, maybe I should grab this to read it. Either way, fingers crossed for the yard. Absolutely. Fingers are definitely crossed for the yard, and maybe we just bring our own and create our own yard. I mean, Fight Girls was a fun read. You have a Gunslinger Spawn 1? Oh, you son of a gun. You lucky guy, man. Your LCS had 0 new Marvel this week. 0, as in none. The Marvel shelves were looking bare at my LCS too, and not in a good way. So it's just getting crazy. Super light week. Hellcop. I forgot what else. It was so light. Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff. PD Hellcop. Yep. Okay, so that was another book that was out that I didn't read actually. Beyond the Breach. I look forward to enjoying that series. I've heard that that's going to be a good one. Time for ComicManAndy to jump into Nightwing. Thank you. That's probably something I need to be reminded about or need to make a note for myself to get in on Nightwing and check that out. Andy, I'll hit you up on IG. We should meet up in case. Yeah, I agree. That's not too far of a drive at all. We could meet up, and there's not a lot of good comic book hunting in the Southwest Michigan area. So Peter Parker's Pants Lansing has a convention coming up, actually. There's a Capital City convention coming up. And I can't remember if it was the beginning of 2022 or if it was later on this year. I got to look because the flyers for that were being handed out at Motor City. So Lansing has a convention coming up, and that might even be a better hunting ground for books because it's not really I don't think the Lansing one's much of a pop culture event. But Big Herm, man, yes, we greeted you. Good to see you, man. I'll get you your stuff out soon. Very sorry. I got a little back. No, man. That's no worries. No sweat. Speaking of getting stuff out, the last of the wins on that were given away on It's Drunken Chat. I sent that out. There was another giveaway win here from episode last week. In fact, tune in next week. I'll get my crap in gear and we'll give away some more books on Monday and Wednesday night. Like I said, Monday night's going to be, I've got a name figured out for a modern comic book discussion on Mondays. And then every other Monday is going to be a Monday mail call. And then the next one will be a modern comic kind of discussion where we have guests. So Paul Dunn, Peter Parker's Pants, Big Herm. If anybody's interested in popping in Taylor Winder on a Monday night, talk about comic books, hit me up or I'm going to come find you guys and see what's going on. Yes, on Gun Honey, you're reading that. Very cool. What's up, everybody? Seems I'm super late and this is wrapping up. Yep. Please catch the rewind if you can. We just went over a very light week and talked about Motor City Convention quite a bit. And if you guys are interested in hearing more about Motor City Comic Con and hearing some perspectives from other people, pop over to Renavision on YouTube, where Peter Rena, myself, and Marco, Tales from the Dark Side podcast from the Flipside crew, we're going to be hanging out talking Motor City and talking about some other great stuff there. That starts in just about 20 minutes. So we're wrapping this up now. I'm always down to complain about or talk about comics. Absolutely, man. As you can tell, I'm already starting to lose my voice. This weekend was one of those weekends where I didn't stop talking the whole weekend. And now every day after that, it progressively kind of gets to the point where I'm starting to lose my voice the more I talk. Steve White, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate all of you guys helping to recharge my comic collecting, comic reading batteries. And hopefully your batteries are recharged as well. Everybody here hanging out, getting good positive energy and feedback, looping that to each other. Looping, feedback, looping. One of those things. Positive energy begets positive energy, begets positive energy. We keep paying it forward and keep bringing good energy to everybody's lives because that's the point, right? That's the goal. Nobody wants to have bad energy. Nobody wants to not feel good. We all want to feel good, even on our hardest days. So to come here through a hard week after a very fun weekend is great and uplifting, and I can't thank you guys enough, because you know what? This connective tissue we call comic books is fantastic, right? But you guys are the most fantastic part about this all day, every week. So you guys know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to wrap this up by saying peace out, pinkies out. I'm going to catch you on the flip side for the next video. Remember, the most important part, though, all day, every week, every month, every year, stay original and take care of each other. See you guys on the next one.
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
Excuse me while I change. The roller boogie has made me sweaty. Yeah, sweaty. I love gold. I love gold. I love gold.